and make it potentially stronger now with a WSIS Plus 20 review. I'm going to turn to you, Juan. There is a growing complexity in this digital governance question. So what form of coordination, roadmap, shared framework, joint mechanisms, or anything in that sort of sense would you see linking the different processes? And I'm particularly thinking about WSIS and GDC, but maybe there's other points you also want to raise. And we also have a slide that we're sharing behind.
Thank you, Isabel. First of all, thank the organizer of this panel for having me. And the audience, can you bear with me? Because I will present 3 slides. Because, as they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words. So that way, I have to speak less, and we will have more time to get the interaction with you. That is what is our interest. My first slide is just to motivate. It's taken from the book that's there at the right, Governing AI for Humanity. That, by the way, I recommend the book. But this slide shows 7 processes, not from UN, of course, related with AI, and it makes the list of which countries has participated in them. As you see with the yellow in the bottom, most of the countries and mostly of the South cannot participate in all of them, or even in some of them. So this raises this situation that, because, of course, I agree with the substantive issues that was said by my previous speakers, but in the end, work has to be done, and we have to do it through mechanisms, through something, and we cannot have too many of them, because otherwise it's impossible, especially for developing country, to be in all of them. In that sense, I agree with what is said in the document from the Swiss government, the non-paper paper, and also from what Garza just said, that we can keep, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can keep the processes that were established during WSIS, of course, perfecting them now that we have the experience of the years, and are these 4 that are in the screen now. The IGF that we are here now, the CSTD, the WSIS Forum, and also the UN General Assembly. And there's some arrows in the middle that is not there only for the show. Those arrows means that there need to be some institutional linkage and some coordination between them to avoid duplication. In the Swiss document, they go into details. I'm not going to get into the details. You can check it in the document. They mention UNGIS, the United Nations Group of Information Society, that groups all the agencies in the US. But I just told the Under Secretary General that was in another meeting that beyond that we need to have a more fluid, substantive linkages and liaisons between all of this. And just to finish the last slide, I will just briefly, of course I open to question and to, if you want me to go into more details, but just quickly to say why the essence of those 4 mechanism. Of course, first we have the IGF. And I put them first not by chance, because the IGF is an agenda setter. It's where from bottom up, from the national and regional IGF, problems are presented. Problems that sometimes, and many times, they're not heard at the global level. So it's a natural channel to channel, by the way, to channel those problems to the UN at large and to the international community at large. As Vince Cerf says in the previous IGF, in one of his interventions, he said, IGF may not be the place to solve the problem, but it's certainly the place to frame the problems. So that's a very important contribution of IGF, and of course, because it's all the stakeholders' policy dialogue, and it's part of the mandate. That does not have to be changed. There's some perfection that can be done, but okay. Then we have the Commission of Science and Technology for Development. This may sound controversial for somebody, but we need an intergovernmental space. Actually, it's happening in the CSTD, and it has the mandate of the yearly review of the outcomes of WSIS. We need that. Somebody still calling, the enhanced cooperation. If you want, I know the story very well. I was there in Tunis when all that discussion came out, but maybe that's for another time. We don't have time here. But we need an intergovernmental space, and it may be the CSTD. For instance, in CSTD was decided last year to create a group for the analysis of data governance because it's important. So maybe next year they say we will need a group for the analysis of, AI governance or blockchain governance, whatever. We need a place where governments can also channel their own concerns and take decisions. Of course, we have the WSIS Forum. The WSIS Forum, the mandate, original mandate, is to have the accountability of the moderator, facilitator of the action lines and to review the action lines. And here I underline the word action, because in some other forum, here in the IGF policy dialogue, in CSTD, we take decisions, but that has to be translated into actions. And I am saying that all these processes can be clearinghouse. The IGF, as a matter of fact, it's a clearinghouse for policy dialogue because everybody come here. But the action lines, I just mentioned in the previous slide, in the first slide, processes that are outside the United Nations, for instance, for artificial intelligence. We don't have an action line for artificial intelligence, but maybe we may have one. But let me put the example of the action line for cybersecurity. We have many processes for cybersecurity. Even the London process that is outside of the UN, we have the open-ended working group in Commission 1 of UNGA. And all those, many people cannot be in all those places at the well, but that could converge. The result of that in the action line on cybersecurity. That's already there. It's the mandate. We should focus on that. I believe that the WSIS Forum has been drifting a little bit away from that core principle. They still do it, but it's not. But I think that should focus on it. And finally, we need the United Nations General Assembly. It's the most inclusive for all member states. But of course, the discussions in the General Assembly, by the way, they're carried out every year during the sessions of the General Assembly. There's 1 or 2 days for Information Society, where the review from CSTD and ECOSOC goes there. So that still should be kept as the place for a political review of the outcomes of the WSIS of the GDC on the future. I will leave it there. I know that you may want me to go deep into something, but if we have time, please ask.
Thank you so much, Juan, first of all, for your enthusiasm in the presentation and for all of the different points. Maybe before I go to you, Olaf, I just want to say we shared the non-paper with our distinguished panelists. I'm very happy that you're all commenting and happy and agreeing with the points we did in it. I have